Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Kachi, a certified electrician who recently got into poultry farming. The last time we had a video, we were here talking about brooding for zero mortality, and from that time, we have gone through the brooding process, and now we are here. I'm happy to tell you that from the brooding tips I gave you, we only had one mortality, which is one death. Only one bird died throughout the brooding process. And now we have crossed the brooding process. The birds are at 21 days. Now, looking at the progress we have made in the 21 days, I noticed that some birds were stunted. And so I decided to make a video about it and talk about stunted growth. Stunted growth simply means that there are some birds which are not at the size which they are supposed to be at this particular day. So, for example, I'll pick two birds, one which is stunted and one which looks 21 days. So, I have this one here and I have this one here. So, this is 21 days and this is also 21 days, which means this has been stunted. It is supposed to look like this. So there are certain times when you do everything possible that you are supposed to do during brooding, and yet you still have birds which are stunted. So what are some of the causes of stunted growth? First and foremost, there are three major reasons why you can have stunted growth. The first one is that of a poor batch. You've done everything right from the brooding, from providing the feed, but you've just gotten a bad batch from the breeders. So in that particular case, there is nothing much that can be done about it but to continue giving the birds as much food as you can with the correct conditions. The second reason for stuntedness is feed. If you provide the birds with poor feed, maybe for cost saving, or maybe you were busy and you forgot to put feed in the chicken house, that can result into stunted growth. So the solution for that one is really simple. You just have to make sure that you give them feed and they catch up. The other reason for stunted growth is poor brooding. Now, in that particular case where it is poor brooding, it is hard to control the stuntedness in the chicken because it is as a result of neglect, which has led to the birds being stunted. Now that we have talked about the causes of stuntedness among birds, what is it that you can do in order to make the chickens which are stunted to catch up with those which are well grown? Luckily for me, the majority of the birds seem to have caught up. They look 21 days, but there are some of those which are still stunted. So what do you do about that? There is a process called culling in poultry management, culling. So this simply means that you separate the birds which are not healthy, you separate the undesirable birds and put them in an isolated partition. What that does is that if you look at the feeders, they have been raised to a height where the big birds can reach, because you will not put the bigger birds at a disadvantage to benefit those which are stunted. So in order for the smaller birds to be able to have free access to feed, it's better you separate them and put them in a separate partition. Apart from that, you look at the drinkers, they are quite high, and the stunted birds will find it hard to reach where the drinkers are. So for them to be able to eat and drink freely, you're supposed to put them in a separate partition and put separate drinkers where they can eat and drink freely on their own, same size. The other thing, you can do is to provide the stunted birds with a special diet, vitamins. For example, if you are giving them a multivit, the same multivit that you're giving to the ones which are well grown, you just change the dosage. The dosage for the stunted ones will be a little higher than the normal ones, which have grown normal. So in doing that, you provide them with more or less of more nutritional benefit than those which are at a normal stage. The other thing you can do, so in order to improve the general welfare of the whole flock, is to stock them according to the sizes. So you have the stunted, which are the smallest, and then you have the medium-sized ones, which you can put also in a separate petition. So you should have enough space where you can do all these things. So once that is done, what will follow now is just to make sure that you manage the litter properly, because litter has a lot to do with chicken growth. Making sure that there is food in the poultry house at all times, and making sure that there is clean water. As we are here in Zambia, we are getting into the cold season. So even though you are done with the brooding process, there are certain times when it gets really, really cold. So when it gets really cold, you might as well put in some heat source, and then when it is normal temperature, just make sure that there is air coming in and out. Make the environment as conducive as possible. By doing that, you will see that the flock will improve as a whole, and even the stunted ones will have a chance of growing and catching up with the rest of the flock. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell so that you do not miss an upload. Thank you.